All right. Welcome everyone to our webinar today with our one of our customers, SRS Distribution. We're going to wait for a couple other folks to join that registered, but I think Hector, we can pop up the first slide and get started. Still waiting for it to load on my side. Okay. All right. Like I said, thanks everybody for joining. Today we're going to be talking with SRS Distribution, a leader in the roofing materials distribution sector. One of our biggest and most important customers here at Tendril. We're going to talk a little bit about how SRS uses Tendril. Some of the origins, some of the different unique business cases that we're seeing that use, and some of the results that are coming from working with us in this capacity. SRS is a little different than our typical customer. Really focusing on driving engagement with their current customer base. A lot of our other customers are using Tendril to generate new business opportunities, and so we thought this might be a great opportunity for us to share, a different use case for how Tendril can be effective for accelerating the number of meaningful conversations. So Hector, next slide. So those of you that don't know me, I'm a co-founder and CEO of Tendril. And today we're going to be meeting with Rodrigo Alarcón, our COO, and Robert Gaspard, Sales Enablement Manager of SRS. Rodrigo, do you want to introduce yourself? Oh, you're muted.
Thanks, John. Yes, excited to be here. I'm also one of the co-founders here at Tendril and COO. I basically see all the implementation, everything post-sale is under my umbrella. But I'm really happy here and thrilled to introduce our next speaker, someone I genuinely proud to call a calling and a friend. We've been working for almost or more than a year now, but Rob Gaspard is the Sales Enablement Manager at SRS. And Rob brings deep expertise across revenue strategy, go-to-market, execution, SaaS, fintech, and most importantly, building the kind of high-performance teams that actually move the needle. So please give a warm welcome to Robert Gaspard.
Thanks, Rodrigo. Robert, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about SRS and your role there.
That's tough to follow. Rodrigo just bumped me up. And Robert Gaspard, I am the Sales Enablement Manager for SRS Distribution. We're a building products supplier distribution. We're acquired by Home Depot a little while back. But we sell roofing supplies, windows, doors, anything. We go from the curb. We have multiple verticals, so we go from the curb to the side of the house, up the side of the house, onto the roof, and now down into the home with drywall, etc. So we're a distributor. We support contractors nationwide through all of our branches. But my role at the company is exactly what sales enablement sounds like. My role is to help salespeople and our contractors conduct more business. So how do we drive revenue and profit for them?
All right. Thank you, Robert, and welcome.
One more thing about Rob.
Yeah.
Real quick. Since we connected, we've discovered we share a real passion, and that's coaching. So Rob coaches baseball. I coach soccer. And I just bring this up because coaching kids or client success teams or sales teams, the principles are the same. You develop your people, right? Build trust and show up when it counts. I reach out to many times to Rob saying just for coaching advices on how to coach with my daughter and my 5-year-old boy. So that's just a fun fact.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Rodrigo, because the types of coaching. I mean, it's coaching. But hearing both of you talk about the different, your daughter, I think, is 6 or 7 years old now. And Rob, I heard plenty of stories where some of your kids are now at the collegiate level, which is really cool to see that there's still commonalities, whether they're 5 or 6 or 18, 19.
Yeah, covers the entire age spectrum. A lot of commonalities from kindergarten all the way through collegiate and into pros. So
yeah.
So
all right. Well, thank you for that. Next slide, Hector. So this morning I was talking a little bit to one of our sales teams about how this partnership began. We were actually had one of our SDRs using our Tendril Connect platform, reached out to one of the decision makers at SRS and booked the meeting. Rodrigo demonstrated the platform, and a couple years later, here we are with a really strong partnership. Growing friendships, and increasingly more efficacy to engaging with customers. And so, Robert, we've got a list of questions here that we wanted to kind of use as a framework for our conversation today. And this is the first one. What prompted SRS to enhance its service model to an even more proactive customer service engagement strategy?
Sure. And I inherited Tendril. So there was somebody before me that had the relationship. And as I came in and saw what you guys did, I was able to work with Rodrigo and your team to I think utilize it in various ways. So at SRS, we use it in a number of channels, but we're in a customer-facing business. We're business to business to contractors, and our role is to support those contractors. Mm-hmm. For us, being proactive on outreach, staying top of mind, information sharing, it is critical. To keep those relationships and to help them be profitable. So adding Tendril into various parts of our business, as you say on here, it enhanced kind of our service strategy where it allows our sales team to focus on the one-on-one types of relationships that are needed in our core customer base, while utilizing Tendril to do a lot of outreach and information sharing for us. So mm-hmm. It was something that I think was needed, but I think it was a team effort between Rodrigo and I to find that sweet spot of how we could utilize your services.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that. Given that you kind of inherited the Tendril platform, it was probably being used in one way, and I think, like, from our perspective, that evolved to something much more with broader usage and adoption. So, Rodrigo, from your perspective, how did the utilization of Tendril by SRS Distribution change once Rob came on board?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, John, because I think that's one of the reasons why SRS and Tendril, we work so well together, because I think we're both flexible companies, and we can shift, right? And we can identify what works. So I think when Rob came on board and he saw what we were able to do with our technology, he just challenged us and said, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we change and not, as you mentioned from the beginning, John, do the normal new business outreach, but could we do something that we didn't think of at the moment, and we just said, yes, why not? Mm-hmm. We can do it. You have the phone numbers, we have the team, let's do it, right? So I think from what worked is just identifying what was working well, and then shifting that towards other business areas, but also using it differently is what I think was the success here.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm glad you brought that point up. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
I was just saying, I think, we stayed core to your core business. We just, as Rodrigo said, you guys were flexible, and I appreciated that you guys were willing to try new ideas, things that I brought from previous experience of how I was able to do things in other industries. And Rodrigo and you and your team have been very flexible, and that's refreshing, right? While staying true to the core business of what you guys started with us. So,
yeah. I'm glad you both brought that up, because a lot of our customers do come to us in a similar fashion. We start, showing the dialing platform and what we're capable of, but many times, like our strongest partnerships and our customers that we've had the longest, they see that we've got a broad range of resources and we're a very nimble company, right? So depending on what your unique business requirements are, we can probably customize a solution that works exactly for you. And usually we're some of the only folks that can deliver that service. And we'll get to another question that supports that in a moment. So Hector, why don't we go to the next question? So Rob, this is question number 2. It's about scale and driving sales team adoption. So the question is, how do you balance outreach expectations at scale while getting buy-in from sales reps when introducing new high velocity engagement tools?
Sure. And in my role, we bring a lot of different tools to our sales team, our internal sales team. Both we have outside and inside sales representatives that support our customer base. So we're constantly bringing new tools as a distributor. I think that's one of the things SRS does best and better than anybody else in the industry. We're a very innovative company. But for Tendril specifically, the balance is great. Our sales team have really grabbed a hold of this. We use it in a number of ways. So our sales team uses it in your core type of opportunities, your core business of using as an outbound dialer, live voice transfers individually. So we use that. We use Tendril in the same manner that is your core business, where our individual sales teams can make very efficient use of time to do outbound prospecting or outreach. The balance comes in for us in order to scale, because we do have such a large customer base, is the outreach and the touch points and the relationship building. We use Tendril in another way where your team is actually making outreach calls on our behalf for information sharing, for events that we run across the country. SRS, we do training events, we do customer appreciation events, we do other events with our suppliers and our vendors and our partnerships. And you guys are involved in almost every aspect of that on an outreach. So the balance comes in that it really helps our sales teams focus on their core business, which is supporting our customers on the one-on-one and the day-to-day types of things that they need to be doing in order to allow our customers to be successful. And then you guys have been a perfect balance to come in and help support and help us scale the actual outreach and touch points. I believe last year you guys made over 55,000 phone calls for us. As a partner. And that doesn't include the calls that our teams made. So touch points and being top of mind for our customer base is important. And that's where I wouldn't say balance, but that's where the absolute benefit comes from.
Yeah.
In working with this.
Excellent. And I thought of something as you were talking about getting buy-in from sales reps, Rodrigo. I think if I remember this right, we added a feature in the platform to give more visibility to the managers at SRS on when these sessions for their team members were taking place. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. We didn't have this feature in the past where we thought of it, but as everyone knows, in terms of product roadmap, you have priorities, etc. But this was really important for Rob and SRS just to have visibility of what was booked, if they're using it, etc. And our product team basically put it as a priority. We set it up and we launched it. And I think that was also something that Rob and SRS appreciate, that we were flexible enough not to only change our operation, but we actually changed or included an additional feature to the to our product. So yeah, that was really good to see the buy-in on our end from our CTO as well to this project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's great when we develop these features.
Sometimes I know what I'm doing. Sometimes my suggestions are good.
We appreciate it. All right, Hector, next question. Okay, so this question is more about like the different channels of communication that you're using to engage with your customers or your ex-customers. How do you use different communication channels to quickly get the word out about things like product launches or regional events?
Yep. So again, we have a fantastic marketing team who are absolute rock stars in all of our verticals. I think the team just has a fantastic working relationship internally and externally with vendors. So we utilize probably channels that everybody else uses: social media, email, mailers, things of that nature. But Tendril was a good enhancement or a bolt-on to help us with that. So we utilize you guys, as I said previously. If we have a customer event, we will utilize Tendril outreach phone calls so that every customer gets a personalized phone call inviting them to the event. To me, I think that makes a very big impact when it coupled with text messaging and emailing and other channels that we utilize at SRS. And that's just one way that we use it from a multi-channel. But we utilize you guys. You've been a perfect addition to our already strong marketing team and all their channels that they use. And so much so that the marketing team has really inserted themselves directly with Rodrigo and his team in scheduling those events. And I've been removed as the roadblock. I was the roadblock once we really started utilizing for the outreach, the multi-channel outreach. They pretty much assumed that role and lead that up for us. That's how much they've really adopted it as one of our channels. So,
yeah, well, thank you for that. I think it's interesting for me to see this use case with SRS because we're not a robo dialer that's just leaving generic voicemails for our prospects. We're actually speaking to these folks and inviting them to these events. So, Rodrigo, from your perspective, what does this look like to kind of train the team to do something unique and customized for a customer like SRS?
So also I've been removed as well, Rob. So it's not just you. So it's the team with marketing. So I think we both were like the bottlenecks at some point. So I think it comes to a good foundation is key, right? First, once you see that everything is working and we kind of start to document and train in certain processes, that's when we start to transition. So I think the how our teams are basically, they have a weekly check-in, right? Sometimes Rob is there, sometimes I'm there, sometimes we're both there, sometimes we're not there, and the wheels keep moving. So they're like this right now. So I think it really had to do with setting the foundation, the right training, and just the right transition to other teams, basically.
Yeah, great. Yeah, thanks for that, Rodrigo and Rob. Hector, let's move to the next question. Okay, question number 4 is about engaging inactive customers. And so, Rob, like we discussed, we're not asking you to kind of reveal your secret sauce here, but like, how do you identify customers that need to be re-engaged? You talked about maybe, churn customers or people that haven't bought from you for a while. And how has your outreach process evolved to support that using Tendril?
Sure. Just like every industry, we have a pipeline of customers at all stages of becoming a customer, from prospects all the way through and including long-term customers. And we also have customers that churn for various reasons. So one of the initial relationship utilization for you guys was for me to call churned customers. We have a program where we have our MITs, which are newly hired individuals that want to go into our operations roles. And I run them through a sales training, and we utilize Tendril to allow them to be efficient with phone calls to reach out to customers that maybe not have purchased from us recently or have churned in the past. But we use Tendril through all aspects of every stage of the pipeline in various ways. And like I said, I don't want to reveal my secret sauce of how I utilize you guys, because I do think that SRS uses you guys in ways that have not been traditionally used. And again, that's a testament to your guys' nimbleness and willingness to help us. But it's been ultra successful in allowing our teams to be more efficient with their time, right? And so I think the number of touches and the number of outreach points of contact that we can do utilizing Tendril is a very large multiple over the traditional smile and dial, type it out one at a time on your phone. I think that's been the biggest impact, is the efficiency of time for our internal staff to utilize Tendril for all aspects, for the outreach, for events, but also for our re-engaging our customer base and staying top of mind, right? Any business, your guys is included, being top of mind, having the relationship, which includes having that communication, is critical. And Tendril allows us, again, to multiply that probably tenfold, where we're actually able to outreach and touch and talk to more of our customers on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis.
Yeah, Rob, you really hit it on the head. I mean, you're really like driving at one of our value propositions that we talk about a lot, which is accelerating the number of meaningful conversations. And when, like you said, staying top of mind, you could send out emails, all you want, but, it becomes, sometimes customers become a little numb to that type of communication. And the phone call, despite all the changes in industry, in the sales industry, is still one of the best ways to engage with customers and prospects. And so, we're really excited to see, our platform utilized in this way. So Rodrigo, from your
that personal touch is still critical and key, I believe, in any relationship sales type. Right? That's you can never replace the human touch. Doesn't matter what anybody tries, and this allows us to continue to do that.
100%. So Rodrigo, from your perspective, most of our customers are using Tendril for new business generation, cold calling people who may have never heard of the company they're representing. So has this been different for you? Is this a different experience working with SRS? Calling this type of segment versus something that's cold?
I think it has both. I think Rob's team as going through the normal new business process. I think it's still somehow cold. So we still have the same model as we use with other clients, but definitely when we go to the product launches or event, it is a different type of call, warmer call. So I do think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but I do think that contractors answer the phone like it's and they're pretty open when having those conversations. So do you think you mentioned right now the human factor? Do you think calls are have more efficiency than emails or other channels, Rob?
Yeah, and again, I'll say this: we use you guys from prospecting all the way through our full cycle of our pipeline. You see a lot of gray on my face. I'm still old school. I still believe in human touch, and I still believe that calls are the most effective way to conduct sales calls. Calls and in person, right? Teams and Zoom, all of that has become the norm, but you still don't get that human touch of just a phone call. So it's important. I still believe it. I will always believe that that's important. And I still think it's the number one way to build those relationships with customers.
All right. Well, thanks for that, Rob. And Rodrigo, Hector, next question. So this next question was one that I was excited to talk about. I talked a little bit at the beginning about how the relationship started with SRS, just the cold call out of the blue. I don't think at that time we really knew how complementary our two companies could be in a partnership. As you may or may not know, Tendril has over 100 team members. We're 100% bilingual. I guess that also includes myself and my caveman Spanish, but I'm holding my own. But Rob, in this context of working with a company like Tendril that has this sort of cultural makeup, how do initiatives like the Para Latinos and Tendril's Spanish language engagement help SRS better support the Latino contractor community?
Yeah, it's been a critical part for us. Again, getting back to what I said, phone calls and personal touch matter. Obviously, in the construction space, we have a wide range of languages spoken, but probably English and Spanish being the two predominant. Having your team call and being able to switch mid-call or immediately to Spanish-speaking phone call, especially on our outreach where we're inviting to events. Our Para-Latino team is I would say, the leader in educational events and other events in this industry. Jalissa on our team has been the point person. She's been the tip of the spear for the entire industry leading this. So we are on the forefront of that, have been. I think Tendril has helped us just, again, as an additive benefit, but your team could switch instantly. And I believe, and Rodrigo and Hector maybe I'll speak to this, but the cultural fit. I believe when somebody calls and can switch to Spanish, it relaxes the person on the other side, and it's been beneficial. We've seen not just in the Latino side, but just all of our events, the attendance has gone up tremendously. But I think the ability to switch back and forth and call specifically for our Latino events in Spanish, because many of the calls we do Spanish first, English second, because you guys give us that capacity to do so. So it's been fantastic.
That's amazing to hear. So Rodrigo, from your perspective, what has this experience been like for you or the other team members?
Well, I think for everyone at Tendril is, we're proud, right? Proud of our roots, and we strongly believe that there's a difference between translating words and actually communicating. So from the get-go, when I set a foot into SRS offices, you can see this, right? And we could see that there was a fit. But I think especially in terms of for Para-Latinos and Julissa, I think Spanish was so important for it to be natural, and for it to be in a way. She actually put me like a test when we were there. Like she was like, well, tell me more about the agents. Are they bilingual? But what's the level of Spanish? I just shifted to Spanish, speaking Spanish, and she was like, okay, perfect. If that's the Spanish, we're good. So I think it was critical for SRS to keep that language outreach to feel authentic, right? Not just a translated version.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we've seen this on another customer account too, and it was a very similar experience. Is when we call and we can hear that there's an opportunity to speak in the native Spanish with the prospect on the other end. The conversation it flows smoother, the information is transferred easier, and ultimately we're more successful. So we're like Rodrigo said, he's proud of mentioned that he's proud of the roots, but I'm also proud of Tendril for being able to support companies like SRS, given the skill set that we have in this area. It's really special.
Absolutely, it's been very, very special and again very helpful on our side.
Excellent. Okay, Hector, I think we got time for one last question. Okay, so this one's about lessons learned with the outreach. So looking back on the last 2 years of working with Tendril in multiple industries, we've done things not only with roofing, but power tools, renewable energy, landscaping. How has accelerating the number of meaningful conversations you're having impacted the broader engagement strategy?
Like I said, going back to it's the human touch, the personal touch. I think a lot of companies have moved away from that. Because digital outreach is easier, right? You can do it with less people. Head counts have been reduced across industries, and there's only so much time in the day for an individual salesperson or an individual marketing team to do outreach. You guys have again allowed us to have an exponential multiplication of our time, making us a lot more efficient. That's been the biggest thing, I think, for SRS. Customer outreach and meaningful conversations have always been at the forefront. That's what makes us different, right? We're not a transactional company. We're very much a relationship company. And you guys have just been able to enhance that over the last 2 years. You mentioned power tools, renewable energy. We started in our building supplies side. Other partners, we make calls, co-sponsored calls with partners in the power tool business. And our landscape heritage side of the house has created a relationship with Tendril as well. So it's grown through another vertical in our company. But again, for us, the meaningful conversations matter as a company. I think that's something that I pride myself on, and you guys have just it's again multiplied our ability to have those conversations with our customer base and continue to build those relationships.
All right. Thank you for that, Robert. Rodrigo, any final comments before we wrap up here today?
Just a final one. I think what strikes me listening to Rob today is that every answer came back to the same thing, just meaningful conversations, and that's what we do here. So not campaigns, not automations, not metrics, meaningful conversations. So that says a lot of Rob and what SRS is trying to do here.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for that, Rodrigo. Rob, thanks again for your continued support and partnership, and for participating in our webinar. We'll have a recording available that we'll post on LinkedIn later this week. And thanks for everybody for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It was amazing.
Bye-bye.
Bye.